Hello dear friends, viewers and trolls who's gonna be blogged. Today is June 12, 2020 and I have several topics. So one is George Floyd's spin. After that is a narcissism and narcissistic clusters, which is connected with the whole thing. And after that is the raising money for the new Lenovo laptop. And of course after that is the Iran controversy, $200 snatched. So let's go one thing by one. First things first, the George Floyd spin. So you who are watching this for some time, you already know the way how I think, conspirorial, and if you know the end, you understand the journey, and the end is the global depopulation murdering 95 or more percent of us. So everything which is happening step by step is leading to that place. So first we this was the step one in my understanding. First we had the corona thing, which killed 50% of our economy, the very interesting disease which killed 0.000 something people. We had like 100 people killed in Croatia from corona, and we did manage to kill more than 50% of the economy. More than 50% of jobs have been simply cancelled as non-essential. In states, before this perfect storm, 14 million people got laid off. 40. So obviously something is happening. And then we also remember that enormous pressure people been under, especially people with the masks, right? People who've been frightened in front of their tellies. They've been really snappy in the supermarkets. Lots of conflicts happened to you and me, I'm sure, and etc. And then after that we had this strange killing of George Floyd. Who was actually George Floyd? I don't know. I have contradictory information. Who was the murderer? The cop? Definitely crisis actor. Now I would like to put a picture, but I don't have editing ability. And everything which is happening is of course a spin, because before this incident and after this incident we had many others. It was simply not picked up by the independent media and by the internet. So the way how I see now what is going on with that spin is I have horizontal element of the equation, and then I have vertical element. And horizontal is space where things are happening, and vertical is the moral, emotional, and if you want to put it, metaphysical space where the whole thing is happening. So now I'm gonna elaborate. So on the physical space we have something like 140 cities in states, 30 biggest cities, and we have lootings and burnings of hundreds of shops. And now we have another thing, which is a new thing, which is the Capitol Hill community in Seattle, which is very known by the targeted individuals from Brian Coffin's famous talk. He is from Seattle, and he was describing how the basically insiders are using technology to target TIs like you and me. It's, Seattle is the center with many lost souls who are bubbling to themselves because they're tortured by the Y2K. So it's interesting actually what's happening there. And the free zone of Seattle being formed with their borders, with armed guards, and I call this King Mancho, the big black guy, definitely alpha with his monkeys around him, and he's policing people and acting as a real medieval monarch, with his knights roughing up the peasants who are not listening him. So that's interesting. And so how the whole spin is done. So from the black side, Black Lives Matter, which is now really reminding me on the Communist Party of the 1930s and 40s. So they have this ground, so they rise because of the police oppression. Okay, nine unarmed blacks been killed by the police officers in 2019. 6,400 blacks been killed by other blacks 6,400 versus 9. So this is how the whole thing is rational, right? So you have police oppression, and that is actually justifying opravdani narodni bijes ili opravdani bijes narodnih masa. maybe I'm gonna come to this terminology from the 1945, 1950 from here, because shitloads of terminology they're using, we've been actually, the Generation X remembers from the old movies when post-war, post-Second World War massacres been happening here, and drumming people into the submission of the new communist regime. So it's interesting. So that that justified rage is actually explaining the looting, etc. And then on the white side or conservative side, you have these arguments: 6 versus 6,400, 9 versus 6,400, and then you have the looting as a vertical of, oh look, these guys are bad. But of course that's been already justified. And another thing is, what I want to add now. I worked as a teacher, and as a teacher, James hits hard. We have this video. By the way, kid is half black, but father disappeared from the picture very early on. Mother is Thai. On this, in this footage, you're gonna see he's hitting me and he's biting me for a hand, and I can only say to him, James, be good, be good. So when I was working as a teacher, I was really wondering what's gonna happen with all these kids who are given so much freedom. The psychopathic and narcissistic kids in a school be given complete carte blanche to hit teacher in testicles, in kidneys, to hit smaller kids in the face. I remember once James, he jumped in the air, and he hit a smaller Thai kid like from the above, like a King Kong. I was like, you know so obviously some kids definitely have a right to knock out other kids. We as a teacher, we can't do anything. So I was wondering, okay, but definitely when he grows up, when he goes out to the street, he's gonna be killed by somebody. Well, obviously 6,400, right? And of course James is also fatherless, raised by mother and a grandmother. So that's the way how they're gonna end up. We all know what's happening to the fatherless kids. Boys typically start looking for the role models on the street, big thugs. One thing that leads to another. Šta je here on the street, what's up, knife, boom, 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 gun, that's it, that's how it goes. Another thing, the same type of conflict with the police force. But what I'm seeing right now in this spin, they're actually mobilizing these clusters of narcissists and psychopaths and borderlines, which have been systematically made through the fatherless homes. If kid is not given a border, how far he can go. Like, I was not even allowed to shout. Forget about hitting somebody, and this, of course, go much further. So if borders are not given, then you're gonna have not only those working in a bands, gangs and individually, but you're also gonna have them ganged up in the clusters. And now they're mobilizing this essentially Walking Dead. This is who these guys are: very low IQ, very low emotional IQ, high on synthetic drugs, sometimes just a ganja and beer, and violence happens. So now I'm getting it, and now I'm just gonna jump to the Yuri Bezimenov, which is very interesting name, means Bezimenov, nameless, no name. Link here. Of course you're not gonna get it, but it's the ex-KGB guy, and he was talking about the phases. Very, very interesting to go into. He was talking in the late 80s about what is KGB doing in the United States, and he was describing the long-term phases. First is the demoralization, which is going on in a period between 15 and 20 years, and through the school system, kids been constantly thought that. I remember this from the end of the communism. What we call here, for example, I govno sa zapada je bolje od naše torte. Even the feces from the Western Europe are better than our chocolate cake. You understand me? So in your context, this is, the white guilt, the patriarchy, the never-ending cry of the black babies, 150 years after the slavery. Imagine me bitching about the Turkish slavery, which ended up in Bosnia in 1878. You know what I mean? And this is now the cause of all my suffering in life. Well, this is how all this thing absurd is. So this was going on through the school system, plus the dismantling of the Christian family. Of course, it's super important, because if father is out, kid is moron. Sorry for you who are watching this, but that's if this is your situation, but fuck it, we all know it's like that. So that's been done successfully. Then you have destabilization, a period of 5 years, he says, and destabilization definitely happened with the whole corona thing, even before. But if 50% of jobs are simply put on a list, no, you can't work because you might somehow infect somebody, which is on its own very, very weird thing what is happening, because till yesterday we had the corona thing, and now we don't have it, and they already announced it for the fall. So I guess only idiots can't see that the whole thing is actually arranged and fake to a certain degree. So anyway, I digress. So then you have destabilization, then you have a crisis, and crisis is actually a nice word for the civil war. And then after that, you're gonna have the normalization. And where the whole thing is going, it's actually super, super creative to me, because I'm of course seeing it for the first time. Yeah, we did have a war in Balkans in the 1990s, but we had continuum of a state, just a different form. Changed nothing much. Star was out, checkerboard was in, and basically same guys been running it as before. So that's how it was. But in this context of United States, the dismantling of a police force, defund the police, and placing the community policing, which is basically militia policing of the Black Lives Matter, which are ideologically, morally portrayed as absolutely super pure. You understand me? Although they don't really give much shit about Black lives, because nobody's mentioning. I think during the riots in Chicago, in 24 hours, 18 blacks been killed and 80 wounded, because gangbangers been just waiting with the AKs to score their all the issues with each other. 18 in 24 hours. That's a high score, guys, for one city. Here, even during the Civil War, a number like that anywhere would be like, whoa, there was a serious battle that day. So something everybody noticed, you know what I mean? So, but I digress. So you're gonna have these guys as a community policing. Now imagine this. That these guys who've been looting stores before and yo kill whitey, now they're actually doing it legally. They're coming to your house to check for the weapons, because you guys know the next step. If you read the Tourner Diaries, I strongly recommend them. I was audio listening 1 hour out of 8 and went through whole material in a documentary, but I think I'm gonna be listening again, because I think it's a great book, by the way. It's either prophetic, or it's either their program, but I think it's their program, which is talking exactly about the Cohen Act, which forbid the private guns, and then Jews employed blacks for policing of whites. And he's talking about that stage, which, you know what, after everything what happened, and things are happening fast, doesn't sound strange at all, because guys, never forget, this is a reptilian planet. It doesn't belong to you and me. We are simply not even subjects. We are slaves in the system. Love it or hate it, that's how it is. So the guys up and around us, they can play this game any way they want it. State never gonna disappear. It's just gonna change its shape, and the same entities gonna be running these community polices. But you're gonna have shitloads of angry blacks who really, really wanna take your shit, and now they can. So. And yeah, weaponized narcissism. That's not gonna end good, guys. Think, the white genocide. This is the recipe for it, absolute recipe. And all right, I'm raising also money for the Lenovo laptop. I would like to buy one older model for about $500, and the way of payment, if you have something extra, is using the Western Union to my name, Krunoslav Baraba. The website where Johnny donated $200 is actually not run by me. It's run by Ryan Merder, guy with whom I used to be friend. And please do not donate anything there. Johnny, I need to explain you the reason why I didn't want to follow up the report to the police and everything, which was of course pending. After 1 week, he doesn't return the money, and which of course passed long time ago. So it's very simple. The potential havoc this could actually do to Ryan outweighs a lot $200, which are maybe could be returned, maybe not. I don't care honestly. Although it's a lot of money for me, it's like 1/3 of the whole project I'm just mentioned. But I feel it's not a right to put a fellow TI in such a shitty situation over it. Okay, that's uh, that's my opinion. He has, I think, enough problems in his life. He doesn't need this one. I hope he's gonna buy plenty of beer with this $200. Although he's really financially well off, to be honest. So it's not the money he actually needs for anything. So this was the major reason why not. Although the ego side of me was really, what, he humiliated you, you should do something, etc., etc., but I didn't listen that side. And in the email I wrote you about the rule of Khmer rule, 1 hour 20 minutes. This implies the patience, because when I lived in Cambodia, I would typically wait 1 hour and 20 minutes while Khmer people been drinking beer and shouting in front of my door, Farang Chkai, white dog, Pai, get lost, Kampuchea, our country, Farang Much Maamui, one Farang, one white cat, Kampuchea, 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 look how many of us are here. And I would typically wait 1 hour and 20 minutes, of course scanning who's outside, and if I notice that it's just a monkey type, not psychopathic elements inside of them, I would confront them and deal with the situation. So that implies with Ryan, same thing. Let's leave him to run this website for a year. Then this website naturally should extinguish, because he paid $50 for 2 years of running it. And if he continues to run this scheme for more than 2 years, and if more people report to me with the evidence that he stole money, then I will be absolutely forced to contact the authorities, because technically it is a fraud, and I'm sure they're gonna have a law or two in the United States against it. That implies that. So in this case, it's a 1 year. Let's give him 1 year more of falsely representing me. That's it. So for you who are not introduced into the topic, guy Ran Merdor opened the website krunobaraba.com, and he placed donation on my name, but actually money is going to his account. So yeah, technically it's a fraud. That's how it is, and it shouldn't be existing. But let's leave him to be. So yeah, that's about it. So guys, I hope you understand everything I said. There'll be a little private part here as well. And yeah, times are changing very fast. Be smart. Look behind you. Be afraid of the black hooded guy, because this guy now legally hurt you and he can get away with that, and that's pretty bad news, considering that they are doing like 90% of the racial crime in the United States. Everybody had a bad experiences with them. And I just gonna finish with the narcissism. What narcissists and psychopaths are using, they're using gaslighting. So when my narcissistic mother, when she was beating me, she was actually crying. And she was crying because she was hurt, right? She was actually gaslighting me that I caused her the pain, and that's why she's hurting me. So in this state, when we're talking about blacks and Antifa, and I call them skinny white kids because I see how the whole game is organized. You have skinny white kids who are focused, who are breaking windows with their skateboards, and then blacks rushing into yo, let's take the shit thing. And what is happening, they are actually attacking you, right, hurting you, and then they are gaslighting into how big victims they are. And problem with the narcissist is you can't reason things with them. They exist into very special mindset. You see, first of all, narcissist doesn't see you as a person. He sees you as a cardboard cut of figurines, and with these cardboard cut figurines, you can play. You can smash their windows. You can cut them into pieces. You can shoot them. You can put them in a trunk and rape later on. All the things they do, because these are not real people. And another thing with the narcissist is they have very strong super egos, and they don't have a local consciousness. So when that super ego is shouting to him, do this shit, do this shit. He doesn't have any mechanism to cope with it, to stop it. You understand me? That's actually what's differentiating psychopath with a normal person. Normal person has a soul and has a consciousness, and you can hear that alter ego telling you something like, call the police, or what Ryan done to you, you must do it to revenge. But no, I say, fuck it. Let's use Khmer rule of 1 hour and 20 minutes, which is in this case 1 year. Okay, you see the difference. So these guys, they don't have this filter. And another thing is they use gaslighting, of course, which is their favorite method, and which is basically in this political arena in the United States, and not only States, here as well, guys, here as well, which is taken to the completely new level when super connected kids with lots of money, with lots of privilege, etc., etc., when they're actually accusing you that you're the bad guy. 9 killed by the police force, 6,400 killed by them themselves, or you're the bad guy. Well, mathematically, I'm kind of really failing to see it. Or the history. I don't know. We also had history. We had 500 years of slavery under Turks, when Muslim brown Turks been enslaving people here, and nobody hates them. They still brag about it. We still eat baklava, which is excellent, and we watch Turkish soap operas, which we all love. Not a problem. So what is happening there is these guys been hit by very serious and very prolonged, many decades mind control thing, and they don't have a filters to filter it. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And now things are happening which are happening. So unfortunately, with these guys you can't negotiate. From the experience, I know the only one thing which can actually stop them are the bullets. That's it. And this is absolutely the only thing they understand, guys. I would like to digress into what happened in my childhood here in the late 1980s, maybe some other time, but it's connected with what's happening in the States. And when these guys start to escalate, they are going to the level of genocide, because it ties into all the things I've been saying before. But I feel I'm talking too much now, so I'm just gonna stop it. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Donate if you can. Later on I'm gonna upload the footage of exactly model I would like to purchase, and you tell me what to think. The Huawei iPad, the Huawei T3, which it's really nice thing, but it's not a laptop. It's a thing which can consume the content on the internet, but I can't create on it. I can't download unless I buy YouTube subscription. I can't download the applications for downloading. I can't effectively edit anything. So it's a completely different level. So it's a good thing to have it as a backup, but what I need is a laptop. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, enough talk. Subscribe if you like if you like. Write me down your opinions and tell me what's happening in your part of states. Oh, I just gonna finish with one last thing. I have a paisano. I have a friend who lives in LA. Well, many people live in LA, and he's working there. He's a really but really hard-working guy. He's a married guy to American citizen, and but this is completely a political guy. When fires been happening around LA a year ago or 2 years ago, the laser beam fires, the forest fires which been created by the energy weapons, direct energy weapons. It was all over the news, and it was happening not that many miles away from the area where he lives. But he told me very nicely, he told me, Kruno, there are many people from back home who are contacting me about things which are happening in LA, and people who never been to LA, and my wife and me, we are really finding that hilarious. And I got the idea. Basically, he told me, Kruno, you're talking shit. Nobody has a problem with that here, and you've been a little bit silly, but you're not the only one. And the same topic happened around the homeless people as well. It was basically, Kruno, fuck off with the topic. We are not into that. I'm focused on my work. And this is for the first time that I know him. When this riot started, I absolutely didn't want to contact him on that, I respected his privacy. I know that he doesn't like to comment these things because for him they don't exist. He's driving from his apartment to his place of work and back, and if everything is peaceful on that route, life is perfect for him. And the first time that we know each other, he actually noticed looting and he noticed the problems and he uploaded some pictures, and I was like, okay. So even my friend started to notice something, and this leads me to the topic of the silent majority, which is now forced to join into the whole debate and the whole political arena simply because um, stores in their neighborhood been looted. And you know how it goes. If you see stores looted in your neighborhood, you start wondering when they're gonna start looting our houses and apartments. Nobody's stopping them to loot these stores. So what is stopping them to enter my apartment building and smash my doors and take Whitey, take his shit, kill the Whitey? Understand me? So that's the next step, and of course it was running through his mind. And this is how I noticed that something significant is happening. Silent majority, which was always telling to fuck off to everything which was happening around them, unless it was their little life, now started to notice. And this is phase two. And you know where they're going. Thank you.